Good evening, Stonecrest. We are here today for our Finance Committee meeting. We'll call this meeting to order. Councilwoman Graves, will you do a roll call for us?
Yes, ma'am. Councilmember Terry Fry,
Present.
Councilmember Alicia Washington, Madam City Manager Gia Scruggs,
Here.
Councilmember George Turner,
Here virtually.
Councilmember Tammy Grimes,
Here.
Mayor Jasmine Cobble, Keisha Franklin. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Councilmember Alicia Washington is absent with prior notification, as well as our Finance Director, Keisha Franklin. All right, you can take a look at the agenda and see if there's anything we need to modify, keep the same to approve our agenda for tonight.
Letter.
Councilwoman Grimes, with the expectation that that agenda item A is currently on hold and in progress, should we take that off the agenda? Move A, possibly D as well.
City Manager Scruggs, you want to?
Yes, for agenda item A, if we could remove that one to a future work session. The ARPA update, agenda item D, is planned to go to the June work session.
Okay, so we'll modify our agenda by saying A, report of SPLOS 1 actual revenue versus SPLOS 2 projected revenue is still in progress, and we'll have that at a future work session. Okay, and then item D, we're going to go ahead and pencil that one in for our June work session. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody in agreement with that?
So move.
Second.
Yes.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded that we accept the modifications to the agenda for tonight. All right. So with that being said, we have an approved agenda. Public comment. Do we have any public comments? Anybody anywhere have any public comment? Do we have anybody online who would like to have a public comment about any of these items? Communications, do we see anyone in the chat space that wants to have any public comments?
No, there's no one present.
No one. Okay. All right. We'll move on through our agenda. As we stated earlier, item A is in progress, and we'll hear about that piece later. Agenda item B, full year 2025 budget calendar. City Manager Scruggs.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Member Grimes. The FY25 proposed budget calendar I have emailed it to you all. I am going to pull it up. Give me just a moment. So for the calendar, it starts out, we actually start working in July. At the work session, the July budget calendar, the FY25 budget calendar will be presented at council at that work session. On the 19th, the finance department will begin distributing the budget instructions, the worksheets, revenue projections, and all of that to the department heads. Once August gets here, they will then, at the August work session, we'll have a discussion of the FY25 priorities. That includes anything that is the capital projects our SPOS expenditures, as well as our general fund expenditures as well. So that will be discussed at that particular meeting. Once we have that meeting, the department directors will meet with finance, HR, and the city manager, the 13th to the 26th of August. And then any recommendations for the 5-year CIP program will be finalized. And that is when we typically have the combined SPOS, TIPS, and finance committee combined meetings. September 4th is a regularly scheduled finance committee, which that'll be another opportunity to get public input and also have the finance committee take a look at what the departmental recommendations are and also make any recommendations to staff. September the 11th, the budget recommendations will be presented to the TIPS committee. And then between the 16th and the 23rd, we'll have the final review of the department reviews and any revisions that we may have at that time. So then once you get to October, we will advertise for the public hearing for the October 28th. On October the 14th, that is a work session. The city manager and the mayor will present the official proposed budget at that work session. And then the city clerk's office will do a schedule for a special call meeting. And then the public hearing on that will be October the 28th. That is the council meeting.
I was just gonna tell her it's listed out. Oh.
And then November, we'll have a special call meeting to approve the FY25 budget. And then there will be another work session and a council meeting. And then the official kickoff to the new year will be on January 1 of 2025. Additionally, this budget calendar, although all of these dates are here, some of them may change a little bit. But I do want to say to the committee as well as to the public, it is never too late to go ahead and start thinking about FY25 as we have already started thinking about some things. And as the council shares their ideas and things, I'm also making a running list, but please make sure you communicate either with the council and or send things to me so that I can have a list so that we can at least look at them and not say that everything will be approved, but we at least have something to start with. So that's what we have for that. Are there any questions about the calendar or anything that is listed there?
City Manager Scruggs, will we have to, for the budget year, approve a millage rate as council did last year?
So I'm glad you asked me about that. And that's something that we probably should have put as an agenda item on this meeting. The millage will be set in June. We will not get the tax digest information until May the 28th. They will be sending it to us May the 28th. So we have a short turnaround to do the public hearings for if there is no, we have to July the 5th to turn everything into the county. So it's a short window, and it is the number of public hearings is driven by whether we have a increase, and the increase is defined as anything other than the rollback. So if we don't roll back, we are required to have 3 meetings. 2 of those meetings can be on the same day, and then a secondary meeting where it can be heard and then it's approved.
So the 28th, the millage rate we'll get back to tax digest for that.
Yes, so that we can actually do the calculations to see what the rate is.
He said we have to have 3 meetings if we do
anything other than, and I'm going off my memory, but I believe it would be just like last year. If we do anything other than the rollback, we have to have 3 public hearings. 2 of those can be in the same day, and we did that last year. We did one at noon and one at 6.
Mm.
And then the other ones have to be between 6 and 7 o'clock.
Madam City Manager, be ready to explain simply what is a rollback.
Yes, sir, we will. At that time, we are also looking to have a similar town hall that last year, I think it was in July, that the tax commissioner's office came and did a presentation. We are trying to work with them to see if we can get them to do that in June.
Yes. Preferably before that June sets date. That's a little bit of a quick turnaround time. Is there any way we can get, rather than doing the manpower for the town hall, maybe a short graphic made? That might be an explainer to explain that we can maybe post for our constituents, send out to our HOAs like, hey, millage rate season is coming back up again. Go ahead, get your complaints out now.
Well, the complaints are, I mean, it's essentially.
I
gonna be-
I shouldn't
mean,
say
it's
the
gonna
word
be-
agree- I
the
shouldn't
things
say
that
the
they
word
have Questions about,
Question.
most of the questions actually are directed toward the tax commissioner's
commissioner.
office, not the city. However, we're just saying we want to be able to give an opportunity for our citizens to ask the tax commissioners questions directly during this period, and we want to do that prior to the adoption of our millage. So we're gonna get that, we're trying to get that scheduled prior to us doing the public hearings and the adoption.
All right.
Okay, so y'all are
And
working,
everything has to be done by July 5th.
July 5th.
we're working to do what we did last year. I think that was very beneficial last year. too.
Any other questions? Great question, Mayor Pro Tem. And I can't remember who asked me that question, but it's a great question.
All right, if we have no further questions for item B, then we'll move on to item C. External audits for full year 21 and full year 22 status. A lot of conversation around our audits and being quote unquote caught up and all of that. So let's hear what you have for us, city members.
I would like to say that we have have everything back. We have submitted everything. The city has submitted everything that it has been asked for by the external auditors. They did ask recently for some additional information, and we are in the process of providing that, but we have provided all the information, and everything that they have asked us, we have provided. And we are waiting on the final so that we can have that conversation with council and it be made public. So that's where we are with that. And as soon as we finish that, we are hoping to jump right in on the 22 audit. And hopefully it will go a bit quicker than the previous ones have, but there have been some delays in the FY21.
Okay, so the, lack of a better term, the vendors asked for,
Our
auditors,
external,
external auditors have asked for what they deem necessary for full year 21, and that has been supplied by the city.
yes.
Okay, and do we know kind of potentially when they'll give us some feedback for that, or?
We don't.
We don't.
We are waiting to hear from them. We wait to hear from them, and as soon as they let us know, we will be getting ready to make a presentation to council and also share with council the draft version of that, so that that the council will be aware of where we are and any things that we need to make adjustments to get fixed.
And nothing that we can say or do to, I guess, to put more fire under their feet, if you will, if that's necessary.
I don't think it's necessary, and I would, we are, because they have everything, we are just waiting. And
Waiting for a report.
yes. And the finance director is in constant contact with them, and responding if they ask for something one day, in the next day or so, she gets it back to them. So we are just in a back and forth on final things.
I know that we mentioned, I'm so sorry, City Manager Scruggs, I know that we mentioned during the May 29th meeting, during your report that they were waiting on additional items. Do we have any idea of what those items are? Are they receipts? Are they people's tax information, code, W-9s, things like that?
No, it's not that type of stuff. So, I'm gonna say this, but it can be, one day they may ask us for the receipt, the detail, the documentation behind a receipt that we received, some funding that we received, funds that we received. So then we turn that in, and then the next day they may come and say, hey, we need a list of these vendors and the documentation that goes with that. So one day they could be asking us for one thing, and then the next day they're asking us for something else. They could be asking us for a letter from the attorney's office, and we get that to them, and then they come back and ask us for something else. So it's, as they are going through the documents that we submitted, if they see something that they want additional information, just to make sure everything is in order, they may ask us for additional information or additional supporting documentation.
And I was asking about, when could we expect, because I didn't know if there was a certain cadence that they march to, or is it kind of in their hands, if you will?
It is in their hands. And when,
Kind of the way the industry works on, is that?
yes,
Yes.
it is.
Okay.
It is. It's a big audit. There's still things that from 20 that carry to 21. And last year we had some, it took us a little time to get all of the things that they needed for 21, because that was also a year that we were getting ready to be in that transition period of finding documents. So, it took a bit longer than we thought, and then we had some staffing concerns, some staffing things that happened too. So, all of that, and now we are in a much better position for that one. We're hoping that 22 is different because, our record keeping and our just the accountability on what we're actually doing was a little bit was different.
Okay.
What's the time frame, I guess, when they request the item, that we get it back to them? It varies.
It varies, but I know that finance has been very responsive. Like if they ask for it today, they probably get it tomorrow, if not the same day. It's top priority. It's nothing. I don't think there's anything more important to the city than this audit, and the finance director is aware of that. So anything that comes in, she is very responsive and gets it back to them, unless it's something that's not in her hands. If it's something that we got to ask somebody else for, an outside entity for, then we're asking for that and we're waiting on that. But as soon as we get it, we're getting it for.
But currently, we don't have no outstanding documents that they're waiting for.
The last one I know of was yesterday, and I know she said she was working on it, and I heard her and her staff working on that particular item when I was in the office today.
And then once the FY21 is completed, then we'll be able to get I guess kind of a
Game plan for them too. Yes, but obviously there are things that we can do to prepare, but typically you can't go to the next week.
until you finish.
Yes,
Mhm.
ma'am.
Can't close
By
out
law
1 year.
or
Okay. Anybody have any other questions about item C, external audit? Okay. Well, as we said, we would be receiving the ARPA updates as to expenditure status, complete and pending, in the June work session. I'm really excited about that piece because, believe it or not, there's still some need for there's still some need that may be able to be met by ARPA out in the community. So I'm really excited about hearing what we've done and what is pending and what the possibilities may be.
So I do want to say a couple of things. Obviously, when it's presented, the council always has the discretion to be able to come back and make some adjustments. One of the federal requirements is that we have to obligate funds and all funding by the end of this calendar year. So that means contracts or actual expenditures where we have spent the money. So that is also why I wanted to make sure that we bring it up at the work session. And in June, it also gives the council that ability to make any adjustments if you would like to.
Okay.
And that's June work session, right?
June work session.
Well, we're moving right along. Any questions about that? Everybody satisfied with that piece that will come up in June? Sure.
He's gonna have a one-on-one with you.
Okay.
Don't want to hold up meeting with questions.
No, maybe good.
Go for it.
So in terms of like the, how, in terms of like ARPA, that's for the American Rescue Plan. That's for, and correct me if I'm wrong, parks, parks, public safety, funding on,
Youth and
Roads.
adults programs, Citizens Academy, we have, intersection improvements, educational support, which was to, the school district and Georgia Piedmont,
yes.
residential and business support, park upgrades, police services augmentation, and I think that is all of them. It may be one more.
Police service augmentation, can that be used? Well, since we don't have a police force, I'll be able to provide grant funding or collaborative supplies to CAP PD.
That is a possibility. I mean, that is a, let me say it like, let me rephrase how I say that. The augmentation, the funding was intended to augment the services that we get from DeKalb County. Now, what that looks like has not been fully defined, but I would like to bring some things to council, some recommendations to council on what that may look like and how we can obligate those funds to better support the city in terms of what DeKalb County is doing currently.
All right, that's it.
All right, well, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Councilwoman Grimes.
You're welcome. All right, well, we are now on item E, which is the purchasing policy discussion. City Manager Scruggs.
Thank you. The purchasing policy, the last time we updated it was back in October of 22. And at that time, obviously there was a hesitation to relax the spending limits by, and I'm speaking specifically for the city manager. Right now that threshold is 25,000. As you all have seen here recently, in order for us to, I would like to ask the committee to look at thinking about making some adjustments to increasing the limit for the city manager, the spending authority for the city manager. And obviously we can provide some additional data on that. We did some comparisons to other cities before. Willing to do that again, but I certainly want to ask that the committee and then also the council look at increasing that limit. And then also, because it has been 2 years, there's some things that I think just as an overall look, if we could maybe between now and the next committee meeting, commit to looking at it and seeing are there any other revisions that may need to be looked at. But I certainly want to do that, and then also give our finance department an opportunity to look at it, because as a result of the implementation to Tyler, if there's anything that we need to make some adjustments on either side, I think it's appropriate to take a look at that as well. But I also want to not only look at the purchasing policy, but just take this time also to look at the purchasing card policy, because those kind of go hand in hand. So if we could just commit to looking at that. Again, page 21 is what we look at to just kind of give us, it's a matrix that kind of shows you all of the thresholds and what's the requirements for each one of those. So I certainly would like for us to take a look at that.
So City Manager, have you been thinking about an amount to increase the spending authority to?
Yes, ma'am.
What is that now?
100,000.
Lord.
Yep.
Okay, all right, well, I'm sure there'll be some more committee conversations around that, and I'm sure you have a reason for that. I know you said you did a comparison.
I have, and the other thing is there sometimes, if it is something that is approved in the budget, we've gone through the procurement process, then we are still coming back asking to pay for something that has already been budgeted. But then on the other side of that, there are also things that happen that need to be either repaired, replaced, something comes up, and without me having to do any emergency procurement, are things that just as a course of doing business, we can go ahead and take care of them. And we're not coming back asking or saying, you know, we spent X number of dollars for something that was an emergency purchase. I can go ahead and just handle the business of the city. But all other documents and everything else that's required would still be in place. I'm not asking to change any of that. I just, in order to more efficiently for us, I would ask that we consider increasing that.
And during your presentation, would you have, I'm so sorry, City Manager, excuse me, Councilwoman Grimes, I apologize. for
No,
interrupting.
keep going, I can explain it.
Would you happen to have any, during your presentation, will you bring specific examples?
Of other cities, yeah, I'll give
Not
some-
other cities, but situations that you've been in. You just feel like if you had this procurement increase, you wouldn't have to go through.
Yeah, I can give you a few right off the top of my head. HVAC.
It is hot in here. It is hot in here.
HVAC, sometimes, you know, they're just, and it's, most of it honestly is maintenance type things, but then also it may be something that the council has approved to say, hey, you can buy, I don't know, anything. I mean, it can be, or multiple things.
What did you say? I missed
You
that.
said a golf cart, but it's multiple pieces of equipment. Let's say the maintenance crew needs X, Y, and Z. We said the budget was already set. We said they could buy these pieces of equipment, but then now I'm coming back asking to buy something that we already approved. But a lot of it, my first thought on it is really for situations like the repair of or the replacement of things. And I'm hopeful that that'll give us a little bit more relief, but then there are also things, obviously the roofs, but that's not gonna be 100,000, that's gonna be potentially higher than that. But just things like that, the big ticket items that have to be done, and I would be almost certain that it will be, I don't think that the maintenance repairs and the replacement things would be something that, I think that would be something that the council would have wanted me to go ahead and do.
Well, I think we can save this for the presentation, but one thing I would like to see, during your presentation, or is to ask is specifically examples in the city's past that you have brought up, specifics, not really generalizations, but specific instances where where something has been delayed because we as council did not give you that procurement and just added problems. In addition, if you would have an example, could you also see if you could find out whether or not maintenance can be exempt, if there's a way we can modify the procurement to give you that oversight under maintenance, rather than something that's, say,
Just general.
yes, ma'am.
Another good example is the road rating study, something that you all said you wanted us to do. We had to wait to go to council to get that done. It was $75,000, but it was obviously something that, as a result of that, it couldn't happen then. We had to wait to the next council meeting. So I can go back and just simply looking at council meetings and the things that I brought to the council that are less than $100,000 in the past couple of years. But it's things like that are just things we need to get done. I'll also say this, as a result of the comprehensive plan, we're probably gonna need some more professional services dollars in planning and zoning to help us do the plan. In some other areas, but we need to do a short-term contract with a vendor to get that done. It's something that needs to be done. And it's certainly something under the umbrella of planning and zoning, and I'm just using that as an example. So we just need to have the ability to be able to just operate efficiently, but it's all still related to things that you all have already said that we need to get done, and the wait to get to the council meeting for all of those other things, it does delay. And sometimes that delay can be 45 days. And so then also some of the things that you all are asking, depending on the price and the cost, you may want me to get it in 30 days, but I'm gonna have to say it's gonna be more like 60 days because we gotta go through this process and then we gotta wait till the next council meeting. So it's just those things.
So it's about 30 days to get it approved or get it before council, and then you have to wait to actually get the information to that vendor to move forward another 30 to 45 days.
The whole process can be between 45 and 60 days, and that's from us somebody saying we need something, whether that's you all asking us or we saying we need something. By the time we identify the need and actually get what it is, it can be 60 days.
And you brought up the HVAC, where we at in the process with that?
I'm gonna have another emergency procurement because I went ahead and signed to get we have some failures in our AC units, but those are things that when I say we were aware, we knew that when we purchased the building that we may have some maintenance things with HVAC, and it's 20 years old.
Oh, God. We can have that conversation after this meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Related to finance.
No, it's related to HVAC, it's related to
Okay,
HVAC.
okay. Well, looks like to me we've run to the end of our agenda items. We've gone through A, we've talked about B and C. We said D was gonna be the June work session. Let's got to talking about the purchasing policy, having that discussion. Any comments, Committee Member Graves?
I do have one question. I know we said A was gonna be moved to a future work session. What does that look like? July work session? August?
Probably June or July. I'm just not sure yet, but I know for certain that the fee is gonna be on the June work session. That's why I
Okay.
had already mentioned, and it just happened to show up on it.
Is that it? That's it for you?
That's it for me today, yes.
Oh, yeah, all right. Committee Member 5, you have any comments?
No comments as of yet? No comments.
I'll wait to the next meeting. I had some questions for Ms. Franklin, but she's not with us today, so I'll just wait till the next meeting to address those.
Well, believe it or not, I don't have
He said
any,
what?
I don't have any questions. Believe it or not.
What?
City Manager Scruggs, anything else?
No,
Like to
just
leave us with?
looking forward to I know it's early for everybody else, but looking forward to hearing your ideas and thoughts on the FY25. Also going back and reflecting on year to date for 24. I would like to June or July's work session. In my head, I'm thinking June, but it may be July. I want to go ahead and do the mid-year budget and just give an overall update where we are. And that's why I said that SPLOST part probably can go in that, and the ARPA would just make sense to be with that as well. So just kind of giving a mid-year update for everybody. I understand that it won't be through June. It may not be through June, but I think because of where we are and we may need to make some changes in a couple of places, I would like to do it a little bit sooner than later.
Well, I don't know why we have to do anything else other than adjourn this meeting if you all are in agreement.
Yes.
Chair can be exhausted, chair can just adjourn.
Well, hey, guess what? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Thank you, Stonecrest.
Thank you.